All right, let's go over to Jamie Hayter, who was recently interviewed with Clutch Points, speaking about what her thoughts on the growth of the AEW women's division over the years. And to this, she says, I think there definitely has been an evolution in the division. I think it's been an incredibly slow process, though. I think it's only really been the last few years. Well, I don't know. It's just been up and down. It's hard to compare it to before because there were some positive things about it when it first started and some negative things. And you can really say the same about now. Like, I'm always going to be a champion for women having more time, women getting more opportunities, main eventing, this, that, and the other. More of that has happened, but it's never enough. So I think that's like across the board in women's wrestling, women's sport as a whole. There are definitely changes, but improvements, but they're not good enough for me to be like, it's amazing. It's really, really good. It's okay. And that's not just AEW specific. Again, it's just very much how my thoughts and feelings towards women in sport in general and from my own experiences as well. So, Kate, like now that we're at All In, it does kind of feel like a season finale of sorts, for AEW and maybe gives us a chance to be able to like ask the question, especially to you, somebody, Kate, who has brought up this discussion many times in your reviews. How would you assess the current state of the women's division in the company so far? And secondly, do you agree with Jamie Hayter when she says it's not just a problem specific to AEW?
I think she nailed it in all respects. And no, it's not. And it's not entirely a problem with AEW. I think that it feels as if like if you the women's wrestling has plateaued and in some cases kind of fallen back a little from where it was a few years ago when you had like WWE doing things like the Mae Young Classic or like even if you look at sort of the excitement levels around like the first all women's pay-per-view they did as opposed to the second and like but certainly speaking specifically about AEW, I've said this a lot where it just seems to have hit this wall where even when you have very compelling stars, like the two obvious ones are Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné, they cannot get past this what I call the 1.5 matches per show, like the one major match and the one sort of shorter squash match. Basically, it is very rare that you get an episode of Dynamite with more than one plus like 5 minute plus women's match on it. And that does mean that TV time, which is already kind of squeezed, is at that much more of a premium for women performers. And I don't know what you do to get beyond that. I don't know if you will get beyond that. Like it's been at that level for a really long while. I don't know how much interest there is from Tony Khan to change things up a bit. So yeah, I get there has absolutely been an improvement both in the quality of the wrestling and the presentation of the characters. Like they are well ahead of where they were a few years ago. And at the same time, it does still feel like they're still way behind the men's division.
I know Tony Khan like is a fan of women's wrestling. Like he's talked about glowingly about like Azumi is his favorite wrestler or one of his favorite wrestlers, isn't it? Isn't it? She and so I don't doubt that like he's a fan, but I suppose like just looking at his moves and his like roster acquisitions, it just feels like there are so many shiny toys to add to the men's division that are always out there for him and that he might prefer over, well, like who are available out there to add to the women's division.
There
Yeah.
there was an interesting line in that interview that Jamie said, not specifically in this section, where she talked about having a very good relationship with Tony Khan. But she made a comment about, I'm not super close to them. Like, I'm not sitting with him all the time. And, like, I'm not working with him directly a lot. And I was thinking of the number of times I've heard men at AEW say that they are working really closely with him. And it feels like some of the women like just need to elbow their way in there. Like, do you need to kind of fight for a place at the table? Because part of this issue may be that the people he's hearing from are the people and the people who are with him all the time are the people most likely to get on TV and the people most likely to have their ideas carried forward. Don't know. That could be a stretch. It was the fact that she said, she really likes working for him. She likes him as a boss, but they don't work together super closely. And I'm like, I feel like I've heard a lot of the guys say that they do work closely with him.
Do you believe there are, like, you're talking about a roster right now that doesn't have a Tony Storm? Britt Baker is out there maybe at some point, due to come back. Do you think like the returns of like two of those stars might make any sort of significant difference?
I think they have Tekla. Obviously they have Mercedes now. They have Tekla, who has been like I think a star within that division over the last few months, and the idea that she sort of carried it for most of the first half of the year and then does not seem to have any path towards a match at All In is a little bit worrying. Anyone who has heard me talk about this issue knows the name that I'm probably going to say next. They have Athena, who they could easily sort of bring onto the sort of main roster. She has done phenomenal work in Ring of Honor. That run, though, that title reign has been stale for a long time now and should have been put to bed well before this. She is someone who, like, they brought up for a quick program against Tony. It wasn't terribly well executed. They've actually done better stuff, I thought, with her and Mercedes. But if she's not going to be on TV regularly, then it's a problem. But I think that either Tekla or Athena is someone who could build that division in terms of creating an interesting, strong character. Now, what they may lack are really strong baby faces, like who can generate that level of interest. And that, I think, is where you really miss a Tony Storm.
We are wrapping up the summer big on the Post Wrestling Cafe as John Pollock and Neil Flanagan are flying to London, England for live on-the-ground coverage of AEW All in London. Also this month, we conclude our reviews of Dark Side of the Ring and WWE Unreal Season 3, reviews of ROH's Death Before Dishonor and TNA Lockdown. Rewind Away will cover the WWF Aggression album, and Book Club will cover Total Nonstop Agony by Vince Russo. Sign up now at postwrestlingcafe.com.